This is the exact moment in which Highguard screwed itself over.
And so tonight, you're not only going to get the announcement of the game, but also your first look at the gameplay. I've played it, and after you see this trailer, I think you're going to want to as well. Welcome to Highguard.
In one simple yet huge mistake, Highguard set itself up for failure, and when it finally released a few days ago, no one cared. Here's why. Now, one of the main reasons why people dismissed this game was pretty much its reveal in the Game Awards. Now, there's absolutely no issue revealing a game in the Game Awards, but the spot Highguard took in the Game Awards was what was so controversial about it. Usually, the spot is left out for the biggest game of the whole Game Award presentation. For example, let's take a look at last year's Game Awards, where Naughty Dog, one of the biggest devs in the industry, showed off their next AAA game, Intergalactic. So you pretty much get the idea. This spot is usually reserved for AAA big games, usually the games that hit with a bang. They try to end off the Game Award presentations with a big, huge trailer. And that is why everyone was expecting one of the best games to show in that spot, maybe a new reveal, something we're not really aware of. And instead, we were met with one of the most random titles to just be presented, which was Highguard. So obviously everyone that was hyped up watching 2 hours of that event was waiting for that final big reveal, and we just got a random hero shooter. And that is pretty much why they started off with a huge issue. They basically shot themselves in the foot. I mean, if Highguard was revealed throughout the Game Awards show just as another trailer, I don't think anyone would have had a negative outlook on the game. It would probably even have some positive reception. You know, it's a new free hero shooter made by the Apex team, so there's a lot of interesting stuff going on with the game. But no, apparently Jeff Keighley, the leader of the Game Awards show, thought that Highguard was worth being in the final spot, and it really affected the perception of Highguard before the game was even out. Now, for the players that stayed to try it out, the players that saw the trailer and said, let me try it out, it's a free game, let's give it a shot, well, on the first day, it did not have that bad of a start. It started off with almost 100k players on Steam. However, when you start looking at the numbers of the following days, the numbers drastically drop, which tells you everything you need to know. And besides the drastic drop in player amount, the game received a huge amount of negative feedback. Basically a huge chunk, or I would say even most of the players that tried it out did not enjoy it. And it's sitting at a negative reception on Steam's reviews. And that leads us to the main reason no one really cares about Highguard. Well, it's just boring. It's nothing we haven't seen before. And the only thing going for it is the solid gunplay, while everything else is absolutely mid. The art style that was once special and unique with Overwatch, Apex, and other hero shooters is now generic and bland. Now the thing is, when the industry has something unique and new, such as when Overwatch came out, well, the art style was very interesting, it was very nice, it was not going for something realistic, it was aiming for something new. And back then, it was very fresh, it was a brand new art style that we haven't seen much before, especially implemented in online shooters. But now, nearly 10 years later after Overwatch's release, well, it just comes off as very basic. We've seen multiple games that have the same art style. It's no longer unique as it once was. Now for the gameplay loop itself, the characters and the map designs are nothing special either, and I and most just feel like we've played a variation of this game before. It basically borrows elements from your average hero shooters, similar character designs, and it straight up takes Rainbow Six Siege's reinforce and prepare phase.
Reinforcements, which they can use to armor up different areas of their base.
What Highguard is trying to implement is basically a mix of all first-person shooters, from hero shooters to tactical ones, but it ends up just being a jack of all trades and master of none. What's even worse, before the game came out, they were claiming that this game is a new breed of shooters, something we've never seen before, when in reality, when we ended up trying out the game itself, well, it's nothing close to that. To add on, the maps are way too big, and that would have been a good thing to a degree if the game wasn't a 3v3. Yes, maps this huge feature a total of 6 players in the map itself. Now for the actual gameplay, well, it just feels slow, with huge gaps of nothing to do until you finally get to enjoy the great gunplay for a few seconds, and then it's back to emptiness and looting. While Highguard is no Concord, at least till now, it does seem like it's already on a decline. And I'm afraid when they start implementing fixes to the map sizes, to the player count, when they start taking feedback and start implementing it to the game, well, I feel like it's gonna be a bit too late. And while there is a very small chance that it can get a comeback like Rainbow Six Siege, if you remember how Siege released on 2015, small amount of maps, the operators were limited, but they got one of the biggest comebacks of the generation, and Rainbow Six Siege is still making a ton of cash for Ubisoft. And while Highguard definitely has a chance to do what Rainbow Six Siege did, I think it's pretty small. And with how the game is performing right now, I'm afraid the game won't exist in a year or two, maybe even less. And that just tells you that being a generic gaming dev nowadays is just not gonna work out. You need to be innovative, you need to be unique, and punchy and smooth gameplay won't carry an online shooter. It's no longer go big or go home, let's go creative or go home, and Concord was proof of that.